It's been a couple of years now since we were at the Tour Down Under in 2014 and showed you the types of power meters that various pro teams were using. 2 years on, more manufacturers have come into that product, and here at the Dubai Tour there's quite a wide range of power meters being used. So let's take a look down the pit lane and see exactly what pro riders are using today. Now, there are two teams here that are using rotor power meters. That is here at Alpe and also over at Dimension Data as well. Now, they do have a crank-based power meter, but it seems from what I've seen that both of the teams are actually using their in-power, which is an axle-based power meter. Now, as you might expect with rotor, it does or it is compatible with their Q-ring. So other power meters sometimes elevate the power in comparison to what you're actually doing if you're using non-round chain rings, such as Q-rings or indeed O-symmetrics. But this does take it into account, so you'll get exactly the same readings. However, speaking to both the Dimension Data riders and also the mechanics here at Alpe Marida, it does seem as though Rotor are going to supply them with a fairly new prototype power meter very soon indeed, so we shall keep our eyes out for that. A relative newcomer to the power meter market is German brand Power to Max, and they are on two of the teams here at the Dubai Tour. Firstly, Skydive Dubai, and secondly, here at Mobistar. And as you can see, it is quite striking. It does stand out. Now, I saw this on a Argon 18 bike over in Mallorca recently, and when I looked it up, there are a couple of things which I really liked about it. First of all, there's no need to have any kind of magnet mounted onto the bike to wake the power meter up, or indeed to measure the cadence, etc., because it has an internal accelerometer. And second of all, it automatically compensates for temperature changes. So there's no need for you to do your own calibration up at the head unit every time you start your ride, or indeed within it if the temperature changes significantly. Now, three teams here at the Dubai Tour are using stages. That is Al Nassr, CCC, and of course Team Sky, who were the first team, or a big team, to use them in the professional peloton. Now, it's a bit of a surprise at the time because it was a left leg only power meter, which then doubled it to give you your overall power. So of course, if you were left leg dominant, it would overestimate your power, and right leg dominant, it would underestimate it. Now, it didn't really matter because it's still accurate to itself. So if you're always left leg dominant or right leg dominant, you'd still be able to compare one ride to the next. However, Team Sky have recently signed a very new deal with stages, taking them on a further couple of years, and these are prototypes, I believe. Now, I believe that because it actually says prototype there on the crank. Now, this is a double-sided power meter now, which should mean that it's far more accurate for riders with leg discrepancies. This is the first time that I've seen this next power meter in the pro peloton. Verve make the info crank. It has been around now for a couple of years, but they've sponsored One Pro Cycling, who are now up to pro continental status. Now, this power meter is all about accuracy. They claim it's the most accurate on the market at plus or minus 0.5%. So if you're really into your data, this could be the one for you, because not only that, but it also measures power 256 times per second, so it gives a torque reading all the way around, so you get lots of extra analytics after you've finished your ride. Now, it measures both left and right power with two separate batteries within the crank, and if one battery dies, it simply reverts to the other one and doubles it. So if you get caught out on a ride, you can still get some good power data. One power meter which we did see a couple of years ago at the Tour Down Under was this one from Pioneer, being used then by Team Belkin, as it was known at the time. Two teams here are using Pioneer. Firstly, Team Novo Nordisk, and secondly, the one that we've got here, which is Team Giant Alpecin. Now, Pioneer does measure your power on both sides of the crank, and it measures it 12 times per revolution, so it is particularly accurate. And it's also got its very own head unit up there at the front. Currently, it is only available to fit Shimano cranks, which might be why it's not being used on more bikes here. Probably the most subtle and another new entrant into the pro cycling market is 4i, which we can see here on the Ethics Quick Step bikes, them having signed a new deal with the company. Now, these are probably the most affordable, and as I said, the most subtle. You can pretty much not see this at all unless you're specifically looking behind the crank. At the moment here in Dubai, all the riders are running the left-hand only one, which weighs 9 grams and has an accuracy of 1%, albeit it doubles it up to figure out your overall power from the left leg. But soon they will be getting the ones that add 25 grams to the overall weight, which measure power on both sides. Now, I've done a bit of research, and I understand that the founder of 4i is Kip5, and he developed Ant+, which is how most power meters communicate to head units. He then sold it on to Garmin. So, rather ironically, this is the only power meter that I've seen here which actually also transmits in Bluetooth. So if you want to use it with your phone, you can do that too. Last but by no means least, it is SRM, who have long been the gold standard when it comes to power meters, partly because they've been around the longest, but also because they are known for being very reliable and also accurate, plus or minus 1% in fact for the newest incarnations of their power meter. Now 5 of the 16 teams here at the Dubai Tour are using SRM still, so I'm next to the Astana bikes, specialised, but they're using the Campagnola version. Team Wiggins have got SRAM on theirs, and we've got 3 who are using Shimano SRMs. Tinkoff Saxo, or Tinkoff as it's just known now, Trek Segafredo, and finally BMC. So out of the 16 teams here at the Dubai Tour, we have got 5 on SRMs, 3 on stages, 2 on Pioneer, 2 on Power to Max, and 2 on Rotor, and finally 1 each on 4i and Info Crank. So quite a broad mix, and the only ones we're really missing, I guess, are Garmin Vector pedals and the Quark, which we probably will see on other pro bikes on teams which aren't here. Now these are of course very important for riders and teams these days to analyse the training and the race data to help them make improvements as riders. So it's not a surprise to see every team having a sponsor of one kind or another. Now if you'd like some more information on exactly how to train with a power meter, just up there you can find some information on that. And if you haven't caught the latest GCN show yet, you can find that in the bottom corner there. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's free, and it's that box in the middle which says subscribe. Basically, it does what it says on the box.